Bonte, and the Butcher on 95.7 The Game.
All right, we're going to introduce Petaluma's finest here in a second, Dalton Johnson. But I also want to give a little love to some of the Little Leagues because there were some championship games last night in SFYBL in San Francisco. But also tonight, Petaluma Valley Miners, the championship tonight. My buddy Joe, his son Nico Matucci is going to be playing.
I love that.
So good luck to them. Good luck to everybody up there. Petaluma has a long history going way back, even before Johnny Gomes, of being a hotbed for baseball up there. So, yeah. And I know the Matucci family name in terms of baseball here in San Francisco. They're pretty certified. So Tony's out there somewhere driving around going, yeah, talk about me.
And I want to shout out Brandon on Instagram. He follows us. He sent us a group chat here. _cool_story_B. His daughter says, I love Oh Baby. Oh. And he's like, Bonte, you don't say Oh Baby no more. No, I say it at the top of the show and the top of the 8 o'clock hour. But I'll say it for your daughter right now because she's in the car right now. And he just sent us a video with her saying, Oh Baby. So this Oh Baby is for you.
Nice.
Text us your daughter's name so we can shout her out there, Brandon. Good stuff there. Shout out to all the roasters out there on YouTube, Twitch, the Xfinity Mobile, the Comcast Business Text Line. Thank you guys for rocking with us today. It's been a fun show as we talk Golden State Warriors basketball and what Steve Kerr had to say yesterday, what Draymond Green had to say yesterday, and the guy who was at that presser, and by the way, did a great job this year for NBC Sports Bay Area. It's Petaluma's finest, Dalton Johnson, who got better and better on TV. Those WebEx hits, I know, was kicking his ass for a little bit. They're kicking my ass. WebEx is not fun, but he nailed those WebEx Cisco hits.
Hi, I'm Bonte Hill, and I'm being held hostage right now in the NBC studios.
We're all held hostage, right, DJ? What's up, DJ? Good morning.
Thank you for the good laugh this morning. I feel that right there, Bonte. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Those WebEx hits were just a paid 15 seconds, 30 seconds. We're like trying to speed through like 5 different points, those WebEx hits. But anyway, Dalton, you did a great job. And you were there yesterday at Chase Center during Steve Kerr's presser. So I guess what's your big takeaways? Name your top 3 takeaways here, if you can, very quickly, from Steve Kerr's presser yesterday. He said a lot, but what was your 3 biggest takeaways?
I think my 3 biggest takeaways, number one, is just the culture. He was open and honest about the punch. He made it clear that it was fractured throughout the season. I think we already knew that, but it was refreshing to hear from Steve Kerr as well. I think him talking about Jonathan Kuminga was big to me as well, as far as why he didn't fit the playoff rotation, what he needs to do going forward as someone who should be such a vital part of the Warriors' success in the future. And then I also think him talking about Klay Thompson as well, because I think him saying that basically Klay Thompson needs to be as prepared as ever going into training camp, that's big. We know how much Steve Kerr has stood up for Klay Thompson. We know how much he loves Klay Thompson, and it's also a very true statement. So I think those are actually the 3 ones that really stood out to me, was the culture, Jonathan Kuminga's present and future, and Klay Thompson having to be able to be as ready as ever going into what's going to be a big training camp for the Warriors.
So let's say they do nothing, but they improve on chemistry, okay? Just hypothetically. They do nothing of significance. Everybody gets rolled back outside of Dante DiVincenzo, for example. Is that good enough to win it all?
I don't know if it's good enough to win it all, but I actually do think it's a really good start, to be honest with you. I mean, I think that when you look at the core of the big 3, obviously Steph, Klay, Draymond, they showed that they do still have it in plenty of ways. There were other factors, obviously, in the Warriors losing to the Lakers. But at the same time, if Steph Curry shoots better in the last few games from three-point range, if Klay Thompson makes a few shots, it's probably going 6 or 7 games in the Warriors' favor, not the other way around. So again, it wasn't just those 2 things. It wasn't just their shooting by any means. But at the same time, it could have just been a few more shots here, a few more shots there by perhaps the 2 best shooters of all time. So I think that they very much believe in that big 3 right there. It's fine. It's figuring out what's going to best utilize them around those 3 players. What is best going to make Steph Curry's peak even further, because he obviously keeps extending it. What exactly is Klay Thompson right now and the next 2-3 seasons? And we can say the same thing about Draymond Green too. So I don't know if it means that they're going to win it all, but at the same time, I think that when we talk about the culture and everything, and maybe it got annoying in the past. Maybe it felt too cliche in the past. But the culture was talked about just as much as the talent for a reason. And it was just as recently as a season ago. We would see pictures and videos of them on the team playing, them dancing all together, the young guys, the old guys, before the season started. That wasn't something simple or little for them. That was a real big deal, you know? So, again, I know the Warriors' championship culture being thrown around could have got annoying sometimes, and maybe a little too cliche, too, regurgitated here and there, but it's a big deal. And I know Steve Kerr's simply not hiding from that fact.
Man, there's a lot to digest from that answer. Because, on one end, a couple shots go in, they advance. I hear you. Same thing can be said. Steph doesn't have an all-time historic Game 7 performance. They lose in the first round, right?
Of course. No. Of course. Yeah.
We could play it in both ways. But can the culture coexist as it's currently constructed? Can the culture get better and be back to where it was? Are these guys able to, kiss and make up? Because I have a hard time believing that.
And that's what's going to be so interesting is that it does come down to Draymond Green. It has to. As far as the Jordan Poole, Draymond Green, if it's going to work and they're going to be teammates again, whatever Jordan needs out of that, I'm sorry, but Draymond has to be able to do that. And whether that's a dinner for 2-3 hours, whether that's multiple days, whether it just takes longer, and maybe Draymond already has tried in certain ways. I've personally been thinking about the punch a lot recently for a pretty obvious reason.
Well, how disappointing was that, Dalton, yesterday to hear that not only did Steve Kerr address it, but Draymond Green later addressed it with Stephen A. Smith during the Western Conference Finals saying, that punch clouded over everything, and if they couldn't get everything reconciled within that 7-month time frame of the season, then who the hell says they come back to training camp and it's all kumbaya again? It's not going anywhere, Dalton. Doesn't it feel like that?
No, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. As far as look, at the time of the punch, everyone was talking about, well, hey, Steve Kerr is the coach he's the one who got punched by Michael Jordan one day. And I'm not even going to do the whole, well, look, Draymond's not Michael Jordan, but let's state the obvious, Draymond's not Michael Jordan.
Right.
But at the same time, Steve Kerr and Michael Jordan were 3 years apart in age. Jordan Poole and Draymond Green are 10 years apart. Completely different personalities, right? Completely different career trajectories. Jordan Poole was supposed to be the bridge, the head of this 2-timeline plan, which obviously is long gone, and understandably so, and rightfully so. But at the same time, this is also someone who Draymond Green was, pounding the table for Jordan Poole to be the NBA's most improved player. He was praising him left and right. Jordan Poole was referring to him as Big Brother. This was catastrophic. Steve Kerr called it the biggest crisis in his coaching career for a reason, but he also tried to kind of dance around it and act like, oh yeah, this is also just something that happens in NBA locker rooms. No. This was a big deal. And you're right. I don't know if it's going to be all of a sudden some kumbaya thing over the summer. Whatever it might be, it has to be addressed. And if it's not figured out sooner than later, then a change is going to have to come there's going to have to be an even bigger meeting with Steve Kerr and Bob Myers, et cetera, all trying to figure this out because, yes, the culture was lost, which is shocking to say for how much it has been praised in the past.
Yeah, but I don't think it is. Stuff happens in relationships all the time, and that's why people get divorced. There's money, there's cheating, there's growing apart, just so many reasons. All right, so what do you think they should do if you had to choose? If you had to choose between the two, Jordan Poole and Draymond Green, what would you do?
Well, I think that you have to choose Draymond Green for now, but again, it's obviously, just as I was talking about with a 10-year difference, it's just two completely different timelines. I simply think that the only thing that matters is finding the way to build around Steph Curry and getting him another championship. And I think if Steph Curry had to pick a teammate or teammates, Draymond Green might be the first person he picks, or right in second place, right there. He's going to be that kind of teammate. So again, I understand you talk about present, future, all of this, but if you can get 2 or 3 more great years out of Draymond Green on the defensive, on at least on the defensive side of the ball, and you still have Steph Curry being Steph Curry, I'm going to trust the Warriors a lot of the time. They need to have improvements, no doubt about that.
We'll get you out of here with this one, Dalton. Dalton Johnson here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game. Sorry to cut you off, but all right, let's say if you do pick Draymond Green, what can he do offensively to help the spacing of the basketball team? Because obviously Steve Kerr had to go to the one big lineup in the Sacramento Kings series against the LA Lakers. Anthony Davis and LeBron James got to rest a lot when guarding Draymond Green. So you can't play Green and Looney together. And I know the whole net rating, starting 5 thing, but in the playoffs, that got compromised. You had to go away from that starting 5. What can he do offensively to offset some of those deficiencies? Because we see in the Western Conference Finals, 132, 126. In today's league, you got to go out there and get buckets. And I think defense, you can overcome some of the defensive flaws you have, but you got to go out there and get bucket getters, and you can't play 3-on-5. So how do you fix that?
Be aggressive. Simple as that to me. I think it's great to see when Draymond makes a few threes and all of that. Great, of course. That's kind of the cherry on top, of course. But I'd rather see him be able to go attack and be downhill, be willing to go to the line and be confident with that. I don't want to see him hold the ball and for 3, 4, 5 seconds look around with all the space in the world and go, okay, now what do I do? No, I want to see him be able to be confident going downhill, getting to the line, going chest to chest with someone, using a floater, all of that. So the 3-pointers is the cherry on top to me. It's just the simple fact of being aggressive and showing that he trusts himself with his offensive game as even a little bit of a scoring threat.
All right, Petaluma's finest. What are you going to do in the offseason, man? What's in the plans?
Hey, sleep right, and this continent isn't going to continent itself. I'm still around.
All right, good deal. We'll be catching up with you, Dalton. Great, hell of a season for you, man. Hell of a season at NBC Sports Bay Area. Looking forward to working with you again. For what year would this be for you on the Warriors beat coming up? Year number 3 coming up for you?
Next year will be year number 3. That's right.
Year number 3. All right, year number 3.
So you're now a veteran.
He's now a veteran.
I'm expecting more. Hopefully, you get a bump up in salary, and yeah, with that comes more autonomy on the offense.
Hey, let's talk more after this, Gatsby, huh?
Aren't we all trying to make that?
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Have
We're
a
all
good one,
broke
buddy.
boys. All right, Dalton.
Appreciate you guys always. Thanks.
Anytime, Dalton Johnson here on the Morning Rush on 95.7 The Game.